Today, the FTC has levied a fine that can only be called epic. This is CheckPoint. Welcome to CheckPoint, where it was undeniably a year for games.
Indeed, in all the years when games, this was certainly one of them.
And now, at the end of it, we have to look back and consider, but was it? And I think it was.
Platinum Games has recently revealed another game in the Bayonetta series, and frankly, Syriza and the Lost Demon looks like an absolute blast. Platinum is talking up the adventure aspect of the game rather than any over-the-top action we usually expect in Platinum games, and also I'm kind of enamored with the fact that it's being directed by first-time game director Abebe Tenari, who moved from Vancouver, BC to Japan in 2009 to pursue his game dev dream. Tenari's written a great blog post on Platinum's site breaking down how the game was conceived and developed, so go check that out. And if that doesn't sell you on the game, well, supervising director Hideaki Kamiya is asking us to, quote, take our guard down and, quote, approach this with a fresh, open mind. And that's fine, Kamiya-san, but it's also something a witch might say to an angel that she intends to put on a BDSM horse. So, are we the angels? No, viewers, you are the demons, and now you are a zombie.
Sending this year off with a bang, the Federal Trade Commission has fined Epic Games over $500 million for 2 complaints about why Fortnite is bad. Well, not the game itself. I understand it's lots of fun. Perhaps too fun? No, it's Epic that's bad, for a couple reasons. First, the FTC has found that Fortnite is not compliant with COPPA, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, because it defaults voice and text chat to on, publicly displays account names, and of course, failed to tell parents it was collecting information from their children. Now, you're already saying, but the game is rated T, teen, for violence by the ESRB. That means it's only for kids 13 and up, and COPPA's protections are for kids under 13. And yes, you're very well read. Good job. That's been Epic's argument as well. Games rated teen, kids shouldn't be playing it, not our fault. Which is why the first 27 pages of the 32-page complaint explain in detail that children play Fortnite, that Epic knows children play Fortnite, that Epic actively encourages and markets to children to get them to play Fortnite, and that they've done very little to protect children playing Fortnite. So that makes up $275 million of Epic's total $520 million owing, and that will be paid as a fine to the government. The other $245 million is going directly to users as refunds for the FTC's second complaint, that Epic uses, quote, design tricks known as dark patterns to trick consumers into making purchases. And I know dark patterns sounds like a mediocre young adult novel, but it's a term that's been around for over a decade and means user interface that's carefully crafted to make consumers do specific things. An example from the FTC complaint is that when Epic found too many users were hitting the undo button after making a purchase, they made the undo button smaller and harder to use. It worked, too. They saw a 37% decline in people refunding purchases. Now, here's where eat crow is too strong. What's the smallest corvid?
Nutcracker.
Huh. All right. Cool. Thank you. Here's where I eat seasonally appropriate nutcracker. Last week, I derided the notion that a 10-year-old spent $600 on Fortnite without their parents' knowledge, and it was pointed out that Epic's user interface is designed to trick players of any age into doing so, but to which kids are especially susceptible. Now, I did know that, and now that it's been effectively proven to be the case, we all know that. But I wasn't talking about Epic's interface trickery, but rather how on earth a 10-year-old even has access to 600 of your dollars. Well, the other big part of this second complaint is that Fortnite would hold on to a player's credit card information without their knowledge, allowing kids to just keep buying stuff without notification or approval from the cardholder. They didn't even add a small, actually don't save my credit card checkbox to the store until late 2018. Epic's blog post in response to this is shockingly mature considering the company's usual tone when it comes to legal issues, but I guess you really want to make sure the FTC doesn't keep adding more $250 million fines.
Are you looking for a way to play classic Game Boy games on the big screen? The GB Interceptor is a straightforward way to capture video that doesn't even require you mod your good old DMG. What it also promises is that you're gonna have to order the PCB and do some soldering yourself. Look, I said straightforward, not easy. Creator Sebastian Stocks had a request from a fan to make a capture device for the original Game Boy so that they could play an online Tetris tournament and stream the results. Thus, the GB Interceptor was born, and it's super clever too. The Interceptor goes between a cartridge and the cartridge slot, making a sort of weird Game Boy 32X, into the side of which you just plug a USB-C cable to output video. Now, the Interceptor can't actually see input from the game controls, but it can see all of the data on the cartridge bus. So while the Game Boy is playing the game straight from the cartridge, the Interceptor just reads the RAM, copies it, and then emulates the copy through an onboard RP2040 CPU running Stax's own custom stripped-down emulator. The results are spit out as video like it's a USB webcam. The best part? Stax admits that this is not a great solution for playing things on the big screen, since what you're playing is A, going to be lagging behind the actual onboard screen, and B, not perfectly accurate because you're essentially playing an emulation of a copy of what should be in video RAM, not what's actually on the onboard screen. So yeah, this is just for streaming and live presentations. I was never talking about running it on a TV. Man, it's fun being an unreliable narrator.
The winter solstice has finally passed, so that means it's time for our annual check-in with Atari. Paul, how are they doing? Yep, that good. As per the company's most recent financial report, quote, given the uncertain macro environment for video games and the blockchain, the group considers that implementation of its new growth strategy may require additional funding resources. Yikes. Who could have predicted that Atari's dual ventures into boutique console manufacturing and cryptocurrency scams would fail? If only there were a pattern we could have teased out from Atari's previous financial situations. My goodness, it's shocking that the zombified corporate husk of a beloved brand that first went out of business in 1984 and since that time has been bought, sold, merged, and separated from various parent entities so many times that it needs 3 separate Wikipedia pages to track its torturous history has somehow, once again, stumbled into financial difficulties. Let's face it, there's only one explanation for this. The Atari brand is clearly cursed. All who attempt to wear its storied face will find they have not chosen a glittering facade, but a death mask. Either that or the fact that these clowns had to write down an 11 million euro loss on Atari tokens.
Where are you in the lineup to own Atari next?
Oh, according to the mailing list, I am 39th in the queue. You?
I'm in the 200s somewhere. I waited too long to sign up.
Yeah, it's probably for the best. Atari's definitely got its hands full constantly owning itself.
Coming up, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles The Cowabunga Collection is getting its first major update. Changes include updates to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Turtles in Time.
Real quick, before anybody goes anywhere, just want to say thanks for watching CheckPoint. That's it for the year. We're going to take a few weeks off, and we'll be back in early January.
It's a little tough when they don't make video game news during this intervening time generally.
I almost thought there wouldn't be video game news this week, and then FTC decided to drop a hammer on Fortnite.
What a lovely Christmas present it was
my
for the staff here at CheckPoint.
Also, while there was no clean way for me to insert this into that story.
Sure.
But while I was looking it up, I discovered this interesting tidbit. Because, the ESRB rated T for teen, right? So
Yeah.
It's like, why are all these youths playing Fortnite? And you can read the filing, and it's like, look at all the things that they're doing, and like lots of testimony from people inside the company being like, we knew, we told people it was a problem. We were like, we should put in protections for this thing. Apparently, like the number one biggest piece of like customer service feedback and tickets and like phone calls and stuff is like, how do I refund what my kid just bought?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was like, all right, I'll look up what the ESRB says.
Right. Other than them being like a completely voluntary organization, self-motivated and regulated by the industry, what did they have to say?
Yeah. So anyway, rated T for teen. What's the rating? What's it for? Violence. And of course, online interactions not rated by the ESRB. And they always say that because it's like, if someone says something awful that you're on voice chat with,
it's not our
Epic
fault.
isn't, it's like, the
It's not part
ESRB
of
is
the
like,
game.
we didn't do that. But here is the entry for Fortnite, because there's always a rating summary, right? And this is the same on, you can find different Fortnite entries for different platforms, but they're all this. This is an action game in which players build forts, gather resources, craft weapons, and battle hordes of monsters in frenetic combat. From a third-person perspective, players use guns, swords, and grenades to fight skeleton-like monsters in ranged and melee-style combat. They can also defeat enemies by using various traps. Battles are highlighted by frequent gunfire, explosions, and cries of pain.
Did they not take all of that out of the game?
Yeah, that is Fortnite build mode, or whatever they call it. Not build mode, it's Fortnite Save the World. That's what they've rebranded it to. Fortnite Battle Royale is not mentioned anywhere in there. So if you were a parent doing your due diligence, something I've never known any parent to do, and go to the ESRB website and read about Fortnite, it literally doesn't describe the game that your children are playing.
Right. Yeah. Holy crap.
Which is just like,
that's amazing. Like,
it's irresponsible on someone's part. I don't know whose, but it's just like, I find that kind of silly that it's like the ESRB entry is describing a different game.
Yeah. I mean, making updates on a website is like tedious as hell.
Okay, so we're not in a position to be criticizing anyone for not updating a website. To be fair, I don't have $500 million to burn if the FTC comes knocking.
There's that too, yeah.
Yeah.
Please don't come knocking, FTC.
Please. I don't know what we would even... Wait, hang on. We're in Canada.
Yeah. Good luck, FTC.
Yeah. No, the CRTC is who we got to worry about.
Yeah. And all we got to do is, I don't know, make friends with Bell or TELUS.
Make sure we're broadcasting enough Canadian content.
They'll leave us the hell alone at that point. Why did I make it sound like that out of my mouth thing?
I have no idea why things...
How you humans talk.
I don't know why things come out of your mouth hole.
I am wearing this shirt today for a very specific reason.
It's a Legend of Zelda shirt.
It is a Legend of
It is
Zelda
a Breath
shirt.
of the Wild.
It is.
The Breath of the Weth.
In fact, it is a My Nintendo Store exclusive.
Oh.
It is. So the reason I wore it was to remind myself.
Gold and sparkly and fancy.
Yeah.
That's definitely a wash inside out on cold kind of t-shirt.
Yeah, and the sparkles leave it anyway. But, you know, it's kind of held up not so bad. I ordered this months and months ago, got it months and months ago. You've seen me wear this on CheckPoint before. But it was to remind me that last night I called Nintendo support.
You phoned them.
About the store.
Oh, good.
Because weirdly, I went to the site just because I'm like, maybe it's fixed. And I tried to add a link ornament to my cart, and it added just fine. And it was in the cart on the Canadian store. I was like, this is awesome. Okay, maybe I can go ahead and add more stuff. Hang on a second, I'm not logged in. But everything is there. Maybe I'll just buy it as a guest. I go to checkout, and it's like, log in to checkout. Because exclusives.
Right.
So you have to, whenever you have stuff in your cart, it's exclusive. Okay, so fair enough. Log in to checkout. So I log in. And after logging in, it spits me to the US website like it always does. Seems like it always does. And then it says, you're in the wrong country to do whatever. I'm like, yes, I know, but I was in Canada before and it was in my cart. So take me back to Canada. Let's do the thing. And when I got back there, my cart was empty with a little thing that said, we've noticed that something was in your cart while you weren't logged in. So we've added it back into your cart for your convenience, essentially, is what they're saying. And of course, there's nothing in my cart. So I go back to the link ornament and try to add it again to my cart, and it does not add to my cart. So the site works perfectly fine as long as you don't log in. But the moment you log in, it empties your cart and doesn't let you buy. Fuck all. So I had to pick up the phone at this point because I'm like, I'm very confused as to what's going on. And I got somebody after having to, was like, please type in the serial number of the system you're calling about. And I'm like, I have a problem with my Nintendo account. There should be no reason for me to type in the name of the system that I'm calling about. And I had to like hit 0 a few times until it finally skipped me past all this horse shit.
You ever been so mad you phone a website?
Yeah. So I got through to somebody eventually. I think the guy's name was Jake, very friendly. And I explained the whole thing. He's like, okay, that's super weird. And I'm going to skip forward to the end of the conversation that took about 27 minutes. He couldn't fix it because he's not a web developer, but he went like multiple times to like his supervisor, and they went looking for other people. And I'm like, this is the most dedicated Blue Badger I've ever talked to. Like, this guy was like working hard to try to fix this problem. I didn't even tell him how much stuff I was going to buy. I told him that later. But yeah, they tried to get supervisors involved. He says, I'll write you a ticket, I'll get you a reference number and do whatever. And he's like, is there anything else you want to know? I'm like, well, two things. One, whenever you go to the hold music, it's incredibly loud compared to your own voice.
That's valuable feedback.
And it's always Hyrule Field from Ocarina of Time. Always the beginning of Hyrule Field. Even when it's like waiting to change to like it's like, please stay on the line. Your call is important to us. It just comes back and plays the beginning over and over again. It's very weird. He's like, thank you. I will let everyone know about that. I'm like, cool. The second thing is, do you have phone agents? Can I just call the website and make my order for the store? And he's like, it's past 7, so I don't think I can send you to them. I mean, I might be able to help you. And I'm like, this is a customer support guy being like, he might be able to actually help me make a purchase. So he's like, what were you looking for again? I says, okay, so let's go through the list. And so I kind of mentioned stuff off the top of my head, and he's like, okay, I think I got it all down. I'm like, okay, hang on a second. Let me go read the list out to you out loud so we know we got everything. So I read and I had like $182 worth of stuff. Like, I was planning on like a big purchase. And so I read out all the things to him. I get to the end. I'm like, okay, that's everything. Jake? Hey, are you still there? I'm still connected, but I'm connected to nothing. Somehow in the middle, we dropped our call. And I'm not blaming him and I'm not blaming me, but somewhere we dropped our call in the middle of this whole thing. No. So I still can't buy stuff. I might call later today or tomorrow or whatever. But at least I know there's a Blue Badger out there who gives a shit, and they hopefully have something into the web developers, and hopefully they're going to figure out why this is doing this thing for me. He had me try all sorts of things on my account too, so he was like really trying.
Well, Merry Christmas to you, Jake, and everybody else watching.
I hope your name was Jake.
Yeah. All right. See you in the new year.